Good afternoon, students. So last class we had studied about the prism, okay, and we had seen its terms. We had already seen its incident angle, two angles within it, R1 and R2, emergence angle, and angle of deviation. We have already seen these terms. Anybody who is having any doubt may ask, because I'm going to take a mathematical analysis in this. So it's very important for you to understand all the angles first of all. What is angle of incident? How you have to take it? Angle of refraction R1 and R2, in angle of emergence, angle of prism, and deviation angle. If anybody is having any doubt in any of the angle, please ask now. Before I start the mathematical analysis of this, it is very important to know if all the angles. So if nobody is having, because I can't see any message, so I'm starting the analysis now. Okay, fine. So I'll just copy this figure. I'll copy this figure, but you don't have to do that. Okay, whatever we are studying here, you have to write everything in your notes again in your own language. Okay, don't convert whatever screenshot I give to you. Don't convert that as a PDF. Okay, I know most of our people would be doing that, but don't do that. That's the wrong thing. You should go through whatever is there as in a screenshot and then copy it or write it on notes properly. Fine. Now, so we have to start the mathematical analysis over here. So for better visibility, I'll just zoom it out so that it's very clear to you. Now see here, nobody will do anything. Okay, just follow up on the screen. If you are doing anything, you will miss out. Fine. Okay, so just see here, I'm constructing this and over here. I'm just constructing this. Okay, a little bit of construction has to be done. So you don't have to write during the class. After the class, you should write. After the class, you should write, dear. Okay, Divya. After the class, you should write, not when I am writing it. Okay, when I'm writing it, you just see, you just understand. And whenever I say that you should draw this or you solve this and tell me the answer, that time only you use your pen and paper. Otherwise, you keep your pen down. Fine. After the class, you have to write it. Now, just see here, I'm doing a construction over here. So there will be a intersection point. There will be an intersection point due to N1 and N2. So if I elongate or if I extend this N1 further, okay, so here is the intersection point. So this is the intersection point and I get an angle over there. I get this angle over here, this angle. So this angle, I'm calling it as E, suppose. I'm calling it as capital E. Okay, this angle I'm calling it as capital E. This angle is already A. Now, can you see this quadrilateral? Can you see this quadrilateral? Can you see this quadrilateral over here? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Can you all see this quadrilateral? Okay. Now, you tell me, what is the angle? What is the summation of the angle A and E? What is the summation of the angle A and E? What is the summation of the angle A and E? summation of opposite sided angles. Summation of opposite side angles in a quadrilateral. What is it? Summation of opposite sided angle in a quadrilateral is out. How much? It is 180. 180, not 90. 180. Okay. Two angles, summation of two angles which are opposite to each other in a quadrilateral, their sum is equal to 180. So from here, if I calculate the value of E, so E will become now 180 minus A. Fine. Let us assume this as our equation number 1. Let us assume this equation as 1. Now, can you see this this triangle now? Can you see this triangle now? This triangle. So what are the three angles? What are the three angles in this? R1, R2 and angle E. R1, R2 and angle E. So the summation of all the angles, all the three angles. So R1 plus R2 plus E. Summation of all the angles in this triangle. Summation of all the angles in the triangle. So R1 plus R2 plus E is how much? 180. Now E value we know. The value of E we know. So we are substituting the value of E in this equation. We are substituting the value of E in this equation. So I will get now R1 plus R2. Fine. Value of E1. So 180 minus A is equals to 180. Correct? So R1 plus R2, what do you get now? Do you get A? Do you get A here now? Okay. So this is our equation number 2. And this is a very, very important equation. Very, very important. Very, very important. That the summation of both the angles inside the prism, the summation of first refracted angle and the second incident angle on the surface, okay, is equal to the angle of prism. So summation of angle 1, R1 and R2, summation of angle R1 and R2 is equals to what? Angle A. So all of you have understood this point? Okay. Now, can you tell me, just see here, if this is I, what will be this angle? Yes. Can you tell me, if this one is I, if this angle is I, what will be this angle? If this angle is I, what is this angle? I only. R is this angle. R is this angle. I is this one. Okay. So the smaller angle, the smaller one you see is R, and the bigger angle is what? I. So what will be this angle? What will be this angle? Will it be I minus R? Will this be I minus R? Let us see once again. Let us see once again. If this angle is I, if this angle is I, this angle also will be I. Okay. Now, if this angle is R, if this angle is R1, so what will be this angle? This angle will be I minus R1. This angle will be I minus R1. So this angle over here, this one is, this angle is I minus R1. I hope everybody can see that. Similar to this, similarly, what is this angle? What is this angle? The one just now I have drawn. See here, this angle, this one. This angle. What is this angle? Yes. Is this E minus Yes. Is this E minus R1? Is this E minus R2? This is E minus R2. Okay, very good. So this is E minus R2. Okay. Now, if you can see here, okay, if you can see here, can I write this delta? Can I write this delta as I minus R1 plus E minus R2? Can I write it like that? Can I write delta? Can I write delta as summation of two opposite angles? Because delta is an exterior angle and I minus R1 and E minus R2 are interior angles. So delta is the summation of two opposite interior angles. Can I do that? Okay. So this is also the property of geometry that we are using. Okay. Exterior angle is equal to the summation of two interior angles. So if you have understood that, okay, so delta value becomes now is equals to I plus E minus R1 plus R2, and this should be in bracket. This should be in bracket. Okay. Now R1 plus R2 we have already calculated. R1 plus R2 we have already calculated, which is equals to A. So this becomes A, and this side delta, and this side delta. Yeah. If I take A value on left hand side, so A plus delta will become I plus E. This is also a very important equation. This is also a very important equation. So let us name this one as third angle in third equation and this one as fourth equation. This is also a very, very important equation for you. So just have a brief look at this now, this discussion, what we have done now. Okay. If anybody has any doubt, you can ask. Just have a brief look at this. If anybody is having any doubt, you just ask. Yes. Where is delta in this figure? Amrita, delta is here. See, delta is over here. Delta is here. This angle. This angle is delta. If anybody has any doubt, you can ask. Shall I move forward then? Fine. Now, so on what factors does the deviation angle depends? On what factors does the deviation angle depends? So deviation angle means delta. Deviation angle means delta. Okay. On what factors does the deviation angle depends? So deviation angle delta depends upon angle of prism. Okay. It depends upon the angle of prism. So it is A value. It is A value. Angle of prism. Then delta depends upon what? Angle of incidence. Angle of incidence I. Angle of incidence I. Okay. Delta value depends upon angle of prism A. It also depends upon the angle of incidence I, and then emergence angle. Now there is one problem, slight, not problem, but like a constraint for us. Okay. What constraint? That we don't know differentiation. Okay. These are higher mathematical tools. Okay. That you will not study till 10th class. You will only study in class 12th and introduction in class 11th. So differentiation and all is involved. So we cannot do that calculation over here. So if you go in class 12th and when you study optics, so emergence angle becomes a function of wavelength. Emergence angle becomes the function of wavelength. Okay. So that only you have to remember. Okay. That only you have to remember over here, that emergence angle is a function of wavelength. So angle of deviation. Okay. Angle of deviation depends upon first angle of incidence, angle of incidence, second prism angle, and the third one is wavelength of the incident light. Wavelength of incident light. Okay, so it depends upon all these three things: angle of incidence, angle of prism, wavelength of incident light. Okay, it depends upon all these three things. Now we are going to start dispersion. Now we are going to start the dispersion. Now we are going to start the dispersion. So anybody who is having any idea of what dispersion is? Anybody who is having any doubt of what dispersion is? Dispersion, anyone who is having any idea? What is dispersion, if anybody knows? Prism splits into 7 colors. Okay. Dispersion is splitting of colors. Very good. Okay. So dispersion means the phenomena of splitting. Okay. The phenomena under which when you pass a white light, through the prism, so what happens? It disperses. It disperses into 7 different colors. It disperses into 7 different colors. Okay. So that process is called as dispersion. Okay. So that's all what we have to study over here. So if we have a prism, and if we have a white light, okay, if we have this white light which gets incident on one surface of the prism, so this white light will split. This white light will split into 7 colors. Now, splitting, how you have to draw? So you have to do one thing, okay, that always the incident light will bend towards the base of the prism. Understood? It will always bend towards the base of the prism. So if you have to draw it like that, so it should bend like this. All the light should bend like this. Okay. So you should be having bending of the lights like this. Like this. So bending is always towards the base of the prism. Okay, bending should always be towards the base of the prism. So this is how the bending will happen. And after, from the prism, how it goes? From the prism, how it goes? Like this. Like this. Okay. Can you see that? So if I give you a prism and if I ask you, can you draw a dispersion pattern or a ray diagram for the prism? Can you do that? Yes, I hope you all can do that. If I give you a pattern, a prism, and if I ask you that draw the ray diagram for that, so you should be able to draw. How you will draw? The light should bend towards the base. Okay, the light should bend towards the base. So this is VIBGYOR. Okay, the pattern that what you will get will be VIBGYOR. And what are the colors? Okay, that you should know. This is violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. I hope all of you know the names. Okay. So this is dispersion. A splitting of white light into 7 colors after it passes through the prism is dispersion. So if you write the definition of dispersion, so that also I'm writing over here, just see, splitting of white light. Okay, which light is, it splits into 7 colors? White light will split. Others light will not split into 7 colors. Other color light, if you use, it will pass like that itself. It will pass like that itself. Okay, that color, suppose you are using blue light, so blue light is not going to disperse, or it is not going to break into different colors. It will retain its color. Okay, after disperse, after passing through the prism, it will be of the same color, because the frequency of the light is not changing, and the color what we perceive is due to the frequency of the light. Okay, so splitting of white light after it passes through prism, after it passes through prism, is dispersion. Okay, now I don't know how many of you know this. I don't know how many of you know this, but suppose if I keep a inverted prism now, if I take this figure, okay, and one prism I'm keeping one prism which is inverted to this. Inverted means it is somewhat like this, suppose. Okay, it is somewhat like this. So what will happen to this light? What will happen to this light now? Yes, all the lights will recombine. All the lights will recombine. Okay, and again you will be having a white light. Again you will be having a white light. Is it okay? Again you will be having a white light. So all the lights will recombine and you will be having white light. The recombination will happen like this and you will be having a white light. So here at the end you will be having white light. So this is recombination of 7 different colors. So 7 different colors will meet, okay, and they will recombine and then they will give you the white light. So this is the recombination of 7 colors when you keep a prism inverted. No, don't draw it right now. Don't draw it right now, because if I keep this figure to for you people to draw, it will take a lot of time. Okay, it will take a lot of time. So this is not a thing that we can do during the class. I will give you the notes. I will give you the screenshots. Okay, at the end you can do that. So this was all about the dispersion. So what is dispersion? A splitting of white light after it passes through prism is called as dispersion, and it disperses into 7 different colors, which is VIBGYOR. And the name of the colors you should know. The name of the colors you should know. Okay. So the next thing what we are going to say is lens. Okay, lens. So most of you would have seen a lens or used this lens. Yes? Most of you would have seen the lens. Yes? Okay. Anything? What do you know about the lens? Any person who knows anything about the lens? Any example that you know about the lens? Any example that you know about the lens which you have used? Have you seen magnifying glass? Okay, okay, very good. Spectacles, good. Spectacles, good. Magnifying glass, spectacles. These are two very common things that we have used. Okay, or most of you would be using also specs. Correct. So magnifying glass is the one thing. Okay, that most of you would have used. You would have burnt paper by concentrating the sun's rays. You would have burnt the paper using that magnifying glass, and few of you must be using specs also. So that's also the lens. So all those things are lens. So we are going to study about that. So lens is a object which looks like a transparent to us, which is transparent. Okay, but it is used to converge or is used to diverge the light, which is used to converge or used to diverge the light. The the glasses which are used to diverge the rays are called as diverging lens. The one which is used to converge the light is called as converging lenses. Now we have several types of lenses, but we are here to study only two main types of the lens. Here will be studying only two types of the lenses. One is convex lens and one is concave lens. We have three sub parts also. Okay, we have three sub parts also, like double convex lens. We have convexo concave lens. Then we have plano convex lens. Okay, then three parts we are having. So there are total 6 to 7 combination of lenses which we are not going to see here. Just convex and concave we will see. Is that clear? So what is lens? Lens is a material, a glass material, optical instrument, okay, which is used to either converge the light or it is either used to diverge the light. Fine. There are two kinds of lenses, convex lens and concave lens. Okay. Now I'm going to start how manufacturing of the lens, okay, how manufacturing of the lens will be done, okay, or how we can understand the construction or the manufacturing of the lens. So suppose you have a glass sphere. Suppose you have a glass sphere, hollow glass sphere, hollow glass sphere, okay, hollow glass sphere like this. Now what you are doing, you are just cutting this part like this. You cut these two parts, okay, and take it out. You cut these two parts and take it out, and then what you are doing, you are joining these two parts. You are joining these two parts, okay, end to end. You are joining these two parts. So this is one lens that you get. This is the one lens we will get, okay. And then what about this one? This is a kind of lens. This is one kind of lens. Another kind of lens, how you will get? Another kind of lens, how we will get? Suppose I take this. Suppose I take this, okay, and keep it like this. And keep it like this. And then I join these two. And then I join these two. Now what I'm getting is a concave lens. Now what I'm getting is a concave lens. Okay. Now what I'm getting is a concave lens. Is that okay? So in front of us, we have two lenses. In front of us, we have two lenses. The first one is called as convex. The first one is called as convex. And the second one we have is concave. Okay. They are only called as double convex and double concave. Correct. Vijay, these are only correct. You said it correct. These are only called as double convex and double concave. Double convex and double concave lens. Okay. Now you see here, if you have any doubt that how actually I should remember the name, because right now you are sure that yes, this kind of lens will be convex and this will be called as concave. But after few months, after few days, what will happen? You will just get mixed up with the names. Some people will say this as convex and some people will say this as concave. So how to remember that? Okay, I'm just telling you a trick. Okay, so if you can see this part, okay, this part. So does it looks like a cave? Does it looks like a cave? This part, a cave having a opening like this. A cave having a opening like this. Okay, and another cave like this. Understood? So you should remember this word cave for concave. You should remember this word cave for that concave lens. Understood? So that will be your concave lens. That will be your concave lens. The another one will be obviously convex. The other one will be obviously the convex one. Okay. So this is the one way how you can remember it. Okay. You will not forget, and if you forget, you can easily recall the things. Fine. So we are going to see important terms in this now. We are going to see the important terms in this now. Okay. And then we will see some rules. So first I'm going to take some important terms in this. So important terms now. Important terms. Okay. Is there is a problem in my voice? Is it breaking? You check your network connection would not be good on your side, dear. Okay. See here. Okay. Okay. Now see here. The first point that what we are going to discuss is about the center of curvature. We are going to study the center of curvature. Okay. Okay. So before center of curvature, I think we should discuss optical center. We should discuss about the optical center. So what is optical center? Optical center is the center point of the lens. Can you see these dots? Okay. I have drawn exactly at the center. Okay. So center of optical center. So these points are called as optical centers. These are denoted by O. Okay. Optical center. These are denoted by O. So how you will define it? So optical center, like a center of gravity, not exactly, you cannot relate with that. Okay. But you can try to relate a link. Okay. Try to make relate it. Okay, that's how you can do, but you don't think that's will be the center of gravity and all. Okay, so this is optical center. It will be in the middle of the lens. So that's optical center. Optical center. First one is optical center. Optical center. And we denote it by O. We denote it by O. But the both are in the same position. Yes. No. Center of gravity may lie at a different place also. Okay. It depends upon the situation. Center of gravity, few times it can change also given the condition. The second point is center of curvature. The second point is center of curvature. Can anyone define what is center of curvature? Center of curvature. Yes. Yes, I will show you the slides at the last. Don't worry about that. Center of curvature is the center of the spherical mirror. Spherical mirror of which it forms a part is known as center of curvature. So I guess you want to say center of curvature is the center of the spherical glass. Okay, that glass of which it is a form of, it forms a part of. Okay, center of the circle which passes through a curve. Okay, let me define it, then you will have better clarity. So center of curvature is the center point of the sphere, is the center point of the sphere out of which we have made our lens. Correct? So if I define it, if I write its definition, so how will I write? So center of curvature of a lens is the center of the sphere of which our lens is a part. Correct? So I'm writing that definition. Just try to read and just figure it out that can you understand what I have written? So center of curvature, in short, I will be writing it as COC. Okay, COC, center of curvature. So COC, center of curvature, okay, is the center of sphere, of which lens is our part. Or you can write center of curvature is the center of a sphere of which lens is a part. Okay, of which our lens is a part. Can you understand this definition what I have written? Center of curvature is that center of the sphere. Did you remember that I had drawn this center over here, this sphere over here? Then I had cut this sphere in two parts. Then I had joined these two parts, and then then we made this one. Okay, and when we joined this part and this part oppositely, then I got this one. Okay, so what is center of curvature? Center of curvature is the center of the sphere of which our lens is a part. Our lens is a part of that sphere. So that center of that sphere will be called a center of curvature. Is there anyone who is having doubt in this? No? Okay. So if I draw this figure, okay, if I want to draw the figure, so how it would look like? So for this is our optical center, and somewhere here we will be having center of curvature, and one more center of curvature will be there. We'll be having two center of curvatures. So this one will be the second center of curvature. This will be the second center of curvature. Okay. So I can write it as, okay, 1 and 2 like this. 1 and 2 like this. Okay, for now. which is principal center of curvature, or which is principal focus. So we'll discuss later on. But right now we are saying only center of curvature. Now you should be guessing that we had only one sphere. Okay, we had only one sphere, and why actually I am making two center of curvatures. Okay, so just try to understand that we are having two curvatures. One is this one, okay, and the another one is this one. Okay, so if I draw imaginary sphere, so for this surface, okay, wait, it should be a little bit closer. It should be somewhere here, then it will be better. C1 and C2. Okay, now see. So if I draw a curvature, assuming this as a center, then I will draw a sphere like this. Correct? One sphere I will draw it like that. Another sphere I'll be drawing like this. Another sphere I'll be drawing like this. Okay. So I'm keeping two different spheres. Okay. I'm keeping, though it is made from one sphere only, suppose. Okay. But they are having the center of curvature. This distance, okay, as well as this distance will be same only. Okay. This distance as well as this distance will be same. There is no doubt about that. Okay. But because we are having two curves, no? We are having two curves. One curve is this, one curve is this. So for them, they will be having center at this point and this point. No? Correct? So for this curve, we have a center over here. How can this curve have a center here? It is not possible. Is it possible? Is it possible that this curve has a center over here? Is it possible? Is it possible that that curve over here drawn is having a center at C1? Yes. Is it possible like that? No, it's not possible. So what is possible? What is correct thing to say? That for this curvature, the center is at C2. The center is at C2. That's why we are having two different center of curvatures. That's why we have two different curvatures, center of curvature. Same thing I will do for the concave lens also. Same thing I will be doing for the concave lens also. So this is my principal, this is one line. Okay. This is O, optical center. This is C1 and this is C2. For this curvature, C1, for this curvature, C2. C1 and C2 for two different curvatures. So this is center of curvature now. This is center of curvature. Anybody is having any doubt in this? Is there anyone who is having doubt in this now? Is there anyone who is having doubt in this? No? Okay, so third point. Third one is principal axis. Principal axis. So the principal axis is the line. It is an imaginary line. It is not any practically drawn line or a real line that you will be able to see, but it is an imaginary line that you have to visualize. Okay, that you have to visualize, which passes through optical center and center of curvature. Okay, so first let us understand where is optical center. So optical center is this. Now where was our center of curvature? So just now we have seen that for a lens we will be having two center of curvatures. Okay, we will be having two center of curvature. So one center of curvature is here and the another center of curvature is here. So now what you have to do, you have to join these 3 points like this. So line joining the imaginary line which joins optical center and center of curvature will be called as principal axis. That will be called as principal axis. So how you will define principal axis now? The imaginary line which connects or which joins optical center of the lens and center of curvatures of the lens. That line will be called as principal axis. If I draw for the concave lens, so this is already I have drawn this optical center. I will be having first center of curvature over here and second center of curvature over here, and then I will draw a line which passes through all the 3 points. Okay, I will call it as a principal axis. So how will I define it now? How we will define it now? So it will be defined as line joining or imaginary line. Okay, imaginary line joining optical center and center of curvature is principal axis. Fine. So that's the principal axis now. That is the principal axis. Now we have completed 3 topics, which is optical center, center of curvature, and principal axis. Okay. Focal length I will take afterwards. Not now. Focal length I will take afterwards, not now. Okay. The fourth point is, that is also very important, which is called as radius of curvature. So can you, if you have understood center of curvature, so can you tell me what is radius of curvature now? Radius of curvature. Yes. If you have understood center of curvature, can you tell me what is radius of curvature? What is radius of curvature? Yes. What is radius of curvature? Radius must be a distance. That is a hint I am giving you. Radius must be the distance. Okay. Radius must be the distance. Line from center to circumference. Okay, so let us see the definition of center of curvature, and then we'll try to define radius of curvature. So center of curvature is the center of a sphere of which our length is apart. So how I will define radius of curvature now? Radius of curvature is the distance. Okay, radius of curvature is the distance. Okay, or the radius. So center of radius of curvature is the radius of a sphere. Radius of curvature is the radius of a sphere of which our length is apart. So same, how did I define center of curvature? I will be defining radius of curvature also. So radius of curvature I am writing as ROC. Okay, ROC. Okay, so ROC is, that means radius of curvature is the radius of sphere, of glass sphere, of which our length is apart. Okay, so that radius. So if you want to draw it now, how you will draw it? If you want to draw it now, how we are going to draw? Just see here. So the radius. So how do you calculate the radius? How do you draw radius? So just see here, this is the curve and this one will be the sphere. This will be the sphere for this. and this one is center. What is the radius now? This length, this distance is only the radius. So this distance is only called as radius of curvature. This distance is only called as the radius of curvature. Okay. So this is optical center. Fine. This is C1. This is C2. Then this length. Okay. This length is called as radius of curvature. This length is called as radius of curvature. Can you understand that? So the distance between center of curvature, the distance between center of curvature to the optical center, okay, will be called as radius of curvature. Now, few people would argue that why it is only up to the optical center, it should go up to that part. It should go up to this curved part. Most of you would argue that, correct? Yes or no? I am only raising the question and I am only telling you the answers. Did you get this doubt or not? If you don't have the doubt, I'll move forward. Did you get this doubt that why actually I'm taking this distance as a radius of curvature? Why I'm not taking this distance? Anybody who can come up with the answer? Anybody who can come up with the answer that why actually this line is this line? This first line that I'm drawing is the radius of curvature, not this second line. Yes. Can anyone tell me? Okay, so listen here. One approximation we do while we manufacture this thing. Whenever we manufacture a lens, we make one assumption. What assumption we make? Practically, if you have seen this lens, if you see this glass, okay, if you see that specs, lens of the specs, suppose I'm taking the example. The lens, the example of the specs lens I'm taking. So, if you have that lens, can you tell me that the distance between the optical center, okay, this is the optical center and this is the curve. So the distance is very, very small, or it is some finite distance. Is it very, very small or is it a finite distance? The distance between optical center and this curve that I have drawn, this curve which I'm drawing over here, okay, this curve which I'm drawing over here, this curve which I'm drawing over here, okay, this curve and this optical center over here. This distance is very, very small, which is almost negligible, or this distance is somewhat like you should not neglect. Yes, the distance is very, very small. The distance is very, very small. Okay, you manufacture a lens which is very thin, which is very, very thin. That's why this distance is immaterial. This distance is immaterial to consider. You can neglect that. You can neglect that. Okay, we can neglect that. Practically, it will not cause any harm if we consider also, if we neglect also. Okay, so that's why we are taking the distance up to here, because every measurement in the lens, will be done from optical center only. That is also very important point. Do you understand? Any measurement of the distance, see, I have done from where? Optical center, everywhere. In complete optics, in his class 9, in class 8th you are studying, you will study in class 10th also, you will study in class 12th also. Everywhere the distance has to be calculated from the optical center only. Okay. So what is radius of curvature? Radius of curvature is the radius of glass sphere of which our lens is a part. So I'm drawing it for the concave lens also. What we should do, dear? About what you are asking? This is optical center. This is center of curvature 1. This is center of curvature 2. This is radius of curvature and this is radius of curvature. Okay. So the distance is measured from the optical center. Each and every distance is measured from the optical center. Yes. Why should we do, sir? Drawing from the center. Okay, drawing from the center. Why should we take the distances from the center? Because that's the origin. Because we have this is just a convention, dear. Okay, because we have to measure the distance now. We have to measure the distance, so one point should be considered as our origin, like in coordinate axis, like in graph. Why did you take this only as the reference? Why did you take this as a reference? You could have taken this also as a reference. Okay, there's no doubt about that. So this is just a convention. This is just a convention that everything will be considered from the optical center, which is the center of the lens, geometrical center of the lens. So that's why we are taking that as a center and measuring all the distance upward, downward, left and right. Okay. So we'll continue from here in the next class. Now you can take the slides, screenshots of the slide, and don't forget to write it in fair. Okay. Don't copy this. Writing in fair, I don't mean that you should copy this. Okay. You should write in your own words. You should write in your own words. Okay. Meanwhile, if anybody is having any doubt, you can ask. Meanwhile, if anybody is having any doubt, you can ask. Meanwhile, if anybody is having any doubt, you can ask. No doubt.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, so with this, I will end this session. Okay. With this, I'm ending the session. Thank you.